Hello, New Mexico, and welcome to another episode of Around the Roundhouse, a podcast featuring the policies, politics, and personalities of the land of enchantment. I'm your host, Daniel Chacón. Our guest this week is State Senator Jay Block, a Rio Rancho Republican elected to the New Mexico Senate in 2024. Block is a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel who worked for more than 2 decades as a nuclear weapons officer. He has described himself as the guy with the nuclear codes. After retiring in 2016, he became a defense contractor and business developer. It's also the year he began his political career, becoming the first Republican to win the District 2 seat on the Sandoval County Commission, where he served 2 terms. After an unsuccessful bid for the Republican nomination for governor in 2022, Block set his sights on the New Mexico Senate. Now, one of 16 Republicans in the chamber, Senator Block is known for his mischievous sense of humor, as well as his willingness to work across the aisle. But make no mistake, Senator Block will stand up for his conservative principles. Senator, welcome back to Around the Roundhouse.
Daniel, always good to see you, my friend. And I'm not just a Rio Rancho Republican for beautiful District 12. It's also Northwest Albuquerque. So I got Burnco and Sandoval County now. And I was asked to run in 2024 because of the redistricting. I had no plans on running. I just wanted to go back to my business. But I was asked to step up, and I'm happy to serve.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for offering that additional information. Senator, it's been a minute since you've been on the podcast, so I wanted to see what Jay Block has been up to. And I noticed on your social media that you had recent meetings with 2 governors, former Governor Gary Johnson and our current governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham. I also remember that it wasn't that long ago that you were highly critical of MLG, evil, corrupt, out of touch failure, and the worst governor ever were among the words you used to describe her. Are you BFFs now?
It's so her and I have met a few times in private, and we met the other day talking about some technology stuff that could potentially help workforce solutions, healthcare, and education. And she was very open to those ideas. And her and I have gotten to know each other personally, and quite frankly, we enjoy spending some time together talking to each other. But again, there are many things that we don't agree with on policy. But I think once you get to know the person, you got a little bit different perspective. So I appreciate her being very open and friendly with me, and I'm very open and friendly with her. And any type of disagreement I have with her, it's going to be on policy. It's nothing personal. And, I want the governor to be successful, because if she's successful, the whole state's successful. So I appreciate her kindness toward me. And I know it's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And here's what really kind of pisses me off is, we're told from both sides, Democrats and Republicans, we want you to work together. So I put that out there. There's been a few posts of the governor and I together on working together on a couple of issues, and then people just like lose their minds. Like, how can you talk to that guy and how can you talk to her? It's like, you can't make everybody happy, but I enjoy working with the other side. As you know, Daniel, I do during the session where we can to get New Mexico moving forward. And God knows New Mexico needs to move forward.
Senator, you brought up a topic that I was going to ask you about, because in reading some of the reactions to the photo of you standing next to the governor, and it appears as though you
are hugging me or Jillian.
It does appear as though you have your arm around her, and so but reaction to that photo was very mixed, and with some folks being very critical. What does that say about politics today?
Well, it says it's very divisive. I'd like to go back to the days of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, two guys on the opposite ends of the spectrum, 2 Irish guys, by the way. Reagan, a California movie star, and Tip O'Neill, a guy from Boston, another big Irish guy who said all politics is local. And and Tip O'Neill visited Reagan in the hospital after Reagan was shot in 1981, and they were very, very good friends. They would have dinner together. Then the next day, Tip O'Neill would rip Reagan, and they had their battles, but they respected each other. And quite frankly, I respect the governor. I respect her office, and again, I wish her the best after her term is up. I would also point to Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton. They worked together on welfare reform in the 90s, which was great. We liked that a lot. And I hope we can go back to days like that. And I try to do that working with the governor and, as you know, other senators in the Senate.
Senator, despite your policy differences with the governor, do you think of her time as governor differently now that you've gotten to know her a little bit better?
No, on some things, but that's okay. She was elected to do what she thought was right, and I'm elected to do what I think is right. And I will fight her on some things, and I will join her on some things. So, and that's okay. Political differences are okay. You can still be friends.
Senator, it appears as though the day after you met with MLG, you met with former Governor Gary Johnson. You called him the last great governor of New Mexico. What makes you say that?
Well, Gary's a guy that he was a fiscal conservative. He used his veto pen a lot. I think he moved the state forward on a lot of things. I think Richardson was a disaster as well. Susana Martinez did some good things, some things I didn't like as well. But Gary stayed true to his principles as governor, and he became a political mentor of mine when I was running for governor in 2022. And he's become a very good friend. I texted him the day I was heading up to Taos for a committee meeting. I said, "Hey, Governor, I'm in town. Do you have a minute?" And went to his house, and then we had a great private conversation that I will keep private. Same thing with Governor Lujan Grisham. I'll keep private some of the conversations we had with each other as well.
Okay.
But again, Daniel, you have to talk to people that disagree with you. And I don't think we do enough of that, whether it's New Mexico or whether it's the country. You got to talk to people, and you got to get to know who they are. I mean, there's nothing wrong. And I've told some people this in the Senate on the D side. When I come after you during a debate, it's nothing personal. It's business. And it's my job to vehemently disagree with you on policy that I believe is going to hurt New Mexico. And I'll go after you hard. I was an athlete growing up. You fight on the field and you leave it on the field, and you shake hands after.
I will give former Governor Johnson a shout out, because he has always been super responsive when I reached out to him for comments. So my thanks to the former governor.
And he still very much cares about New Mexico, very much. He's a very, very good man, and I respect him immensely.
Okay. Senator, the Democratic Party of New Mexico State Central Committee is going to meet this Saturday to start the process of picking a new lieutenant governor nominee.
That should be a hot mess.
I'm sorry?
That should be a hot mess.
We'll have to wait and see. One of the contenders.
I'd like to go to that meeting, by the way. Just stand along the wall and just watch.
Well, Senator, you will need a Zoom link, because they will be doing it virtually, and the voting will occur over a number of days, and we'll
over a number of days? On Thursday. It's going to be over a number of days.
Voting
I just found out Gavin Newsom finally won election in 2018.
Well, let's turn our attention back to New Mexico, because one of the folks running for that position, for that spot, is your colleague, Harold Pope of Albuquerque. Give us your perspective on Senator Pope.
Well, I'll give you my perspective on Lieutenant Governor Howie Morales. Howie has been incredible for the Senate for 8 years. In my time up there, shorter than that. Howie has really gained the respect of both sides. And those are going to be some big shoes to fill. We had John Sanchez before that, who was a great lieutenant governor. Walter Bradley was another great lieutenant governor under Gary Johnson. So you have to have a person that has, strong leadership skills that can bridge both sides. I don't see that with Harold Pope from the Democrats who've talked to me, and we Republicans who feel that way. But he was the number 2 vote getter there. I think he got 20% or something, and Maggie got 80. So it was a nail biter election. And, I'm looking for a person that has the ability to bring both sides together. So that's all I can say. I think when it comes to Lieutenant Governor David Gallegos, Senator Gallegos would make a phenomenal lieutenant governor. He's a man well respected on both sides, and I think he would be extremely fair. He's just a decent man, full of integrity, and he's got a lot of leadership. So I'm hoping the Democrats pick David Gallegos as well.
For folks who may not know, Senator David Gallegos is the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor, and he is on the ticket with Gregg Hull, who won the Republican nomination for governor. Given your ties to Rio Rancho, tell us a little bit about Gregg Hull. Would he make a good governor?
Absolutely. He'd make a great governor. I mean, granted, the bar is low with Deb Haaland as the Democrat nominee. I mean, my dog would make a better governor than Deb Haaland by far. Titan, he's a smart dog, smarter than Deb. Gregg has got a great record in Rio Rancho. Everyone knows the record in Rio Rancho. Fastest growing city, safest city, great education, good infrastructure, very fiscally healthy as well. That's something that all New Mexico should be looking at. The model that we've done in Rio Rancho, whether you're a city councilor in Rio Rancho, the mayor of Rio Rancho, or a county commissioner, as I was in Rio Rancho. Rio Rancho works for all New Mexicans. Unfortunately, New Mexico doesn't work for all New Mexicans. And I think Gregg Hull would bring a lot of common sense to the office of governor.
Senator, if you'll indulge me here, earlier we talked about the partisan divide in this country, and you just now had some pretty harsh words for Deb Haaland. So, how do you reconcile that?
I don't have to.
Okay, fair enough. Senator,
be an awful governor. I mean, he'll be an awful governor. I mean, anyone can YouTube her congressional testimony. She can't even answer basic questions when she was Secretary of the Interior. Her campaign is protecting her. She's running a Joe Biden 2020 campaign. Her campaign events are scripted. She doesn't let the press, she doesn't let the press ask her questions. So what kind of leadership and competence are you going to have as governor if you can't even do that? Don't even know your own damn job as Secretary of the Interior. This is a woman who believes that New Mexico should get rid of all public lands that have oil and gas operations on them. She wants to eliminate oil and gas on public lands. That's about 80 to 90% of our budget. That's just stupid. And that tells you a lot about her policies right there. She has no analysis, no in-depth analysis, no knowledge. It's just going to be extremely painful for New Mexicans if Deb Haaland's governor. And I hear it from Democrats. People are scared of this woman, and I get it. I am too.
Senator, we've seen that Mr. Hull has struggled with fundraising. Deb Haaland has proven to be a very formidable fundraiser. She is kind of a brand onto her own. She's a former congresswoman, former U.S. secretary, did extremely well during the primary. What are the odds that Hull will overcome?
Well, I saw some polling recently that actually showed Gregg doing very, very well. And it's still early. You have, what is this, July? You got, 4 or 5 months to go for the election. And when you look at Deb Haaland's money, Daniel, you guys got to do a story on that. The vast majority of it comes from out of state. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that shows you New Mexicans really don't want anything to do with this woman when it comes to the donors. Gregg gets most of his money from New Mexico. Gregg is, he cares deeply about this state, and New Mexicans see that with him, and they are scared of Deb Haaland, rightfully so.
Senator, switching topics here a little bit, regardless of who wins in November, big changes are coming to the Senate chamber with a new lieutenant governor who presides over the Senate, as well as a new majority after Senator Peter Wirth here in Santa Fe announced that he was relinquishing that post. What, and I know we spoke about Howie Morales earlier, but what makes for a good majority leader?
Well, I'll tell you, what makes for a good majority leader is Peter Wirth. Peter Wirth is one of those guys that has worked with us on our side. I have a ton of respect for Peter. Again, we got some political differences, but Peter did a phenomenal job in the Senate. In fact, we had some contentious issues in the Senate, and Peter was able to kind of calm them. Him and I have had some private conversations, and I like Peter, and I appreciate Peter mentoring the next generation for floor leader there over these next couple of years. I hope Peter doesn't resign. I hope he stays on for 2 more years for his term. Now, in regards to some of the names I'm hearing is Bill Souls. I like Bill. He's a good basketball player. I like Bill. Linda Trujillo, very, very nice lady. And I think Michael Padilla is another guy I heard. I'm not sure if you've heard any others, but I think Linda would be a very good majority leader.
And sort of what would make her a good majority leader?
Well, I think Linda, she's got this calming presence about her. She's got this really nice composition about her. I think she, like Peter, it's going to be a big hole when Peter leaves the Senate. Peter is a senator's senator. Mm-hmm. And I think on their side, Linda is one of the few that could probably fill that role and do well. And I hope Linda is the choice for that. Not that I can vote for her because I'm not in their caucus, but maybe I'll identify that way for one day and then come back and identify as a Republican. I think Linda would be a solid choice for the entire Senate.
Senator, as you noted, it is the Democratic caucus, even if you identify for one day as a Democrat, which I doubt you would do, but it's the Democratic caucus that will get to cast the votes. Do Republicans have a say in that? Will Republicans make their choice or their preference known?
I think they will privately. I think some of my Senate colleagues have probably talked to some of the candidates. Quite frankly, we don't have a say in that, like you just said, but we do have a say if we're going to have a new Senate pro tem. And I think we're probably due for a new Senate pro tem here soon.
So you think that will be happening as well?
I think it could potentially happen. I mean, you hear little things here and there. I think people are looking for a change. I know we are on our side.
Well, then let's explore that a little bit. What do you make of the leadership style or the work of Senate President or current Senate President Pro Tem Mimi Stewart?
Well, again, we've had many disagreements with Mimi. I think when you and I'll say this, it doesn't matter to me. When you start treating people and calling people and belittling people and bullying people, whether they're in your or threatening people, whether they're in your caucus or their staff, that's not leadership. That type of leadership would not have lasted long in the United States Air Force where I served at all. I just don't appreciate that type of leadership. I don't appreciate it shows a lot of issues with your own self. And I think as a leader, I look at a guy like Peter Wirth and Howie Morales on the Democrat side as people I would follow. And Linda Trujillo and Michael Padilla. Michael Padilla is another one I really like. There's a couple others, but those are the ones that jump out to me who treat people with respect. And we like that. We don't like on our side when you start belittling the staff, and you can look up all the ethics issues and complaints they've had against her. It's time for a change.
Well, let me ask you about your side. Are Republicans thinking about sticking with Bill Scher as minority leader?
So on our side, we just changed out our caucus chair. David Gallegos, because David stepped down because he's focused on running for lieutenant governor. And again, he'll be a great lieutenant governor leading the Senate. Crystal Brantley is now our caucus chair. She has done a phenomenal job already. She's got unanimous support in the Senate. And when it comes to the leadership, Bill Scher and Pat Woods, two great senators, and we'll see if they're going to be running for their leadership positions again. So there's a lot to talk about, but they have done a great job, especially in this last 30-day session of defeating some awful bills from the other side. So the one thing I will say about Bill Scher as our leader is that man has never once asked any senator to change his or her vote or threatened any senator. I can't say that on the other side with their leadership, and I'm not talking about Peter Wirth. So Bill Scher has definitely let us be senators and understands a senator from Rio Rancho is different than a senator from Carlsbad. We get different issues and different political philosophies on policy.
Okay. Senator, you just mentioned the 30-day session. The 60-day session is just, I know everyone's talking about the election, but the 60-day session is just right around the corner. What pieces of legislation do you plan to introduce, and will your proposal to create sort of New Mexico's version of Doge be back on your agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're seeing now, I mean, think about when I introduced that in January 2025. The country didn't realize how bad fraud was. We're seeing the fraud and the error rate with SNAP here is the second worst in the country. I was just at a business in the international zone, very dangerous area, by the way, extremely dangerous. And I don't represent that district, by the way. That's not beautiful, District 12. But the fraud is rampant in the country. You've seen California, Minnesota, New York, even red states have a lot of fraud. And I think when Democrats put their head in the sand like an ostrich and just don't want to see it, that's not good government. So we'll see something like that come back. I'm looking at state income tax elimination of that. I'm looking at an oil and gas rebate again. Some veterans issues, a couple of healthcare bills, one related to prostate screening as well. So there's a lot of stuff that I've already have put forward, and there's a couple more coming. Another big one is working with the IT Department of IT, Secretary Manny Barreras, really good guy, of fixing our fragmented and out-of-date IT system that's costing us a lot of money and a lot of risk as well.
Senator, you are known as I don't know if the right word is loyal, but a supporter of President Trump. Are you still on Team Trump?
Well, of course, I'm not on Team Harris or Team Bernie Sanders or Team Mondambi like the other side is, or these communists and socialists getting elected in Colorado and New York City. There's no way I could support that. I mean, the flag behind me, they hate that flag. I mean, they've talked about, changing government, getting rid of the presidency, getting rid of the Supreme Court, getting rid of the Senate, getting rid of prisons, no prisoners, open borders. That is, as I've said before, that's just some crazy catnip stuff that I don't know who would be in their right mind to support that. So the president was elected to secure the border. He's done a hell of a job securing the border. Everyone knows that violent crime is down to record levels from 1900. I mean, that's amazing stuff. Gas is a little bit high, but it's not as high as it was under Joe Biden with his awful oil and gas policies. It was over $5. It hasn't hit that yet here. Inflation is down compared to Biden. So, there's a lot of work to do still to repair the damage from 4 years of just a disastrous presidency, Daniel.
Well, speaking of 4 years, you are serving your first term, your first 4-year term in the Senate. Do you plan to seek reelection? I know it's a little bit of ways, but do you plan to seek reelection?
Yeah, I can't have one of these crazy leftists I just talked about take my seat and screw everything up even more in New Mexico. Absolutely not. So yes, I'm running for reelection, of course.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Senator, it's always fun and entertaining, and I always learn something new when I speak with you. Am I missing to ask you anything, any important topics that you want to share with New Mexicans?
No, just tell your wonderful mother I said hello again, Daniel. She's a great lady, and again, I can't tell you sorry enough for your family tragedy that happened, and so glad your cousin is now home and you have some closure there. And I will say you're the only Santa Fe, New Mexican reporter I'll talk to. You're a good one. That guy Myron Spitovich or whatever his name is, oh, awful.
Well, I know Mylan personally, and I've worked with him for many years, so I have to say that I disagree with you, but I respectfully disagree with you, sir.
What was his name?
His name is Mylan
Oh,
Simonin.
I got it wrong. I'm sorry. My fault.
All right. Well, thank you again, Senator, for spending time with us. And thank you, as always, to our viewers and listeners for tuning into Around the Roundhouse. Join us every week as we talk to newsmakers in the political realm by subscribing to our podcast through YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. For the latest developments, follow our coverage online at santafenewmexican.com, where you can also subscribe to our political newsletter, the Roundhouse Report. Until next time, I'm Daniel Chacón, and this has been Around the Roundhouse.